by inviting our event manager and coordinator, Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit, Principal Springfield. Ma'am, please, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much, Nivedita.
Most welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon to the galaxy of eminent academicians, valued guests and dignitaries, cheerful, classic and delighted scholars, all brought together for one cause. And what is that? Why to know why. A huge thanks to all the excellent speakers and panel members for brainstorming the audience with the message that being the 21st century educators, we must have the ability to be able to teach and reach all. We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort, which was very much visible in the efforts put in by all the honored scholars. So, two lines for you all. एक नेक फाल है हम सबों के लिए कि महफिल में बज़्म खुश मिजाज आए, यहाँ अंधेरों की साजिश पनप सके कैसे, जहाँ आप जैसे इल्म के रोशन चिराग आए. So, moving ahead towards the final segment of the conference, without taking much time, let us begin with the valedictory session as we are progressing towards the closure of this two-day international conference. So, very humbly, I would like to invite Dr. M.S. Geeta, the former Dean, Faculty of Education, University of Kerala, India, and National Vice President, SEEN, and an industrious, ambitious, and driven icon who always thrive on challenges and constantly setting goals for herself, for her students, and for all the team members of SEEN for letting them strive forward. So I invite you, ma'am. Stage is all yours. Geeta, ma'am.
Thank you, Pratiksha. Dr. Pratiksha, I am here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly.
Yes. Okay. Let me begin. A warm good afternoon to the esteemed audience and those who share stage with me in this session. Dr. Usha Pathak, the convener of the program, the event manager and the coordinator, Dr. Pratiksha, Professor Poonam Mishra, who gives the special address, and Associate Professors Dr. Reena Uniyar Tiwari and Dr. Rubali Bal, and all other dignitaries and SEAM officials, especially the President Dr. V.M. Shashi Kumar, all of those who are watching this program. And my special thank you to the organizers of this conference for inviting me for the valedictory session. Since this is the last session of the international conference, and since for Keralites, today is a very special day, Tiruvonam Day, and all of us are eagerly waiting to leave the conference for our sumptuous Tiruvonam meal. And I won't take much of your time by talking too much about the theme. I was given only 5 minutes. I think I can take only 8 minutes, including this introduction. I assume that the deliberations from the eminent speakers, the theme presenters, the panelists, and the chairman for the last 2 days gave you a very clear picture of teaching and learning pedagogy in the pluralistic society. And pluralism, as you know, is a continuous learning process, or it is an ethic of respect for human differences. A commitment to pluralism is an intentional process of valuing the human diversity or perceiving human diversity as a positive and beneficial feature of the society. Therefore, applying a pluralism lens, diversity is not perceived as a challenge to overcome. Rather, it is an opportunity for continual development and a more effective and inclusive solution-finding process. As you all know, pluralism is not something people are born with. It must be learned always. A pluralistic disposition is a value or a way of looking at or responding to a diverse and changing world. We must foster pluralism every day and in every situation. This requires lifelong learning and constant attention to changing experiences and realities. How would children attain these pluralistic values? Of course, children experience and learn pluralistic values through the adults they are mingling with or they are interacting with. That is from parents, family, school staff, as well as through their own peers. So adults always need to understand and have a pluralistic disposition in order to support children developing this outlook. From some reading materials, I understood that pluralism can be fostered through both hardwares and softwares. That is, what I mean by hardwares is that hardwares are institutions such as constitutions, legislators, courts, and schools. And I mean, software are cultural habits of mind or norms or narratives. This also applies to early years, early school years, and educational environments. And curriculum and pedagogy can equip children with different viewpoints other than their own, and also equip the students with skills to listen and skills to engage actively with another person's perspective or group's perspective. And through participatory pedagogies and group work, children learn how to connect with and how to debate with each other as a way to understand and build solutions together. And school cultures and structures can mirror an equitable system to promote diversities also. And pluralistic values can be nurtured by acknowledging all ethnic, ethno-cultural, religious, socio-economic, gender and linguistic backgrounds in daily activities. And children should experience a pluralistic education environment at every moment of every day, so that the foundation laid in the classroom is not undermined by contradictory experiences elsewhere in the school environment. If such things happen, it helps people embrace human differences and people respect individual identities and alternative points of views. I must ask you, do teachers have any role in this context? Yes, teachers and teacher educators have greater roles in this context. The active use of innovative teaching methods by teachers is a necessity nowadays. The greater the strategies and methods of teaching the teacher uses, the more interesting, the more diverse they can conduct the classes, and it better motivates the students' cognitive activity, psychomotor activity, and affective activity, which promotes in-depth training and the steady assimilation of technology of practical activities. A good teacher must constantly improve his didactic skills, and he should select and develop new methods and technologies of teaching every day, every situation. And this change in teaching of pedagogy will be observed gradually by adding these concepts in different sections of textbooks and course books in colleges and schools. And the student teachers sitting in front of me and the student teachers of different colleges of teacher education in India are also to be familiarized with this pedagogy of teaching and learning. Teacher educators and student teachers have greater roles in cultivating these tendencies, these pluralistic tendencies, pluralistic values, pluralistic attitude among their children, to whom they are teaching or whom they are handling with or whom they are dealing with. Okay, and for creating a pluralistic education that type of environment, everyone should knew diversity as a strength. And everyone should embrace human differences, and everyone should respect individual identities and alternative points of views. This requires an ongoing commitment to continually encounter and continually engage with the differences across all aspects of our lives, as family members, as neighbors, as teachers, as friends, and other professionals in different fields of education and all other fields. I am not elaborating, I am summarizing my idea about teaching and learning in a pluralistic society through a quote from an old Jewish folk tale about a rabbi who is asked how one can know the moment of dawn. The rabbi says simply, dawn is the moment when there is enough light to see the face of another as that of a brother or sister. Dawn has not come to our world as such, but when it does, pluralism will be the byword for all. Thank you. I am stopping. I think I took only 7 minutes. Thank you for your invitation and patient listening. And my great appreciation for the organizers, especially Dr. Usha Pathak, Dr. Pradiksha, Dr. Chetana, and the organizers from the part of the team, our beloved President, Dr. V.M. Shashikumar. And thank you, my appreciation to all of you, and a very happy Onam for all who celebrate Onam today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and very happy Onam to you too. May Lord Vamana turn all your dreams into reality. Thank you so much, ma'am. And rightly said that teachers have to be accountable and responsible. Then only we can bring the changes in our students. And rather than complaining, we should work by using whatever the resources available. Exactly rightly said, ma'am, that कुछ कर गुजरने के लिए मौसम नहीं मन चाहिए, साधन सभी जुट जाएंगे, संकल्प का धन चाहिए. Thank you so much, ma'am. And with this, it's my privilege to invite now Dr. Poonam Mishra, the torchbearer, Associate Professor, Department of Teacher Education, DAV College, Dehradun, for the special address. Floor is all yours, ma'am. Dr. Poonam Mishra.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, honorable guests, esteemed speakers, eminent dignitaries, and dear participants. I, Dr. Poonam Mishra, Associate Professor, DAV College, Dehradun, feel so privileged to be a part of this auspicious occasion, as I have got the opportunity to listen to various influential speakers who spoke on the theme on this international conference. And taking this forward, I would like to share some of my thoughts on contemporary teaching technique. To start with, I would like to quote the words of Michael Marpergo. It's the teacher that makes the difference, not the classroom. The above quote clearly defines the role of an efficient teacher in creating a conducive environment in the classroom so that maximum learning outcomes could be achieved, which in turn will facilitate into effectively shaping the personality of students. As we all know, the traditional view of a teacher's role is as a provider of knowledge. Teachers share knowledge with students on a particular subject through lessons that build on their prior knowledge and moves them toward a deeper understanding of the subject. Supporting this view are underpinning beliefs about knowledge as being fixed and able to be transferred. Today, these expectations are being challenged. The fundamental premise of teachers as the conduit of knowledge is no longer valid. In recent years, cliches such as moving from sage on the stage to guide on the side have emerged to illustrate the awareness of the changes that are happening, focusing on the role of the teacher as more of a facilitator, guide, mentor, and coach, for example. This is an important part of the current issue, but it needs to go deeper than that. The teacher of modern times are therefore have become facilitators of the learning. The focus of a 21st century is on student by developing higher order thinking skills, effective communications, collaboration, and other skills that will be useful for the students in their upcoming future. So, in today's perspective, a teacher's role is to make informed and intelligent decisions about practice to achieve various outcomes with and for students in their classes. A teacher's role in present times is to make judgments about how best to help their students learn in the environment in which they learn. The modern classroom is created when three key elements come together in harmony: the space, the technology, and the pedagogy. In addition to this, a modern classroom also be designed to maximize the impact of critical catalysts required to motivate students to learn engagement, personalization, collaboration, and feedback. When these factors permeates the three essential elements of space, technology, and pedagogy, the modern classroom comes to life. Such classroom supports a combination of different modalities such as whole class teaching, collaborative team working, independent working, small group working, and out of class working. Thus, we can see a modern classroom extends beyond the four walls of the school. Learning can be just as relevant and valuable outside of the classroom as it is in classroom. Students should have the opportunity to learn anytime, anywhere. In addition to devices, students need a digital environment where they can organize all their in-class lessons, assignments, and resources. Ideally, the platform should be a one-stop shop that they use both inside and outside of school to make the most of resources. Learning organizers can identify a digital learning platform such as a ClassFlow, for example, that works with all devices and operating systems and is free. This changed face of classroom opens up possibilities in teaching, supported by technology and learning space that rearrange itself easily to provide flexibility. Through this interactive learning, students also enjoy a progressive educational experiences that includes collaboration, blended learning, flipped classrooms, and the project-based tasks. When technology is seamlessly integrated into curriculum delivered from virtually and physically, it will facilitate growth in learning that takes place outside of the physical classroom as well. This use of technology will also reduce the workload of the teacher in many ways. Some examples might include technology to make grading, feedback, and informing parents faster and more efficient, technology that makes subject matter expertise more widely available with great possibilities for distance learner, and interactive digital content and platforms that use learning analytics to either gauge misconceptions and suggest peers for support or challenges those who excel to explore further and guide others. To conclude, I may say, by the use of contemporary teaching pedagogies, teachers will continue to move into their role as facilitators and activators of learning and will be fully supported by access to a host of resources, including digital content, new approaches, experts, peer support, and the list goes on to be added with some more innovative teaching techniques, ideas popping out from some starving brains with each passing day. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words full of insight. And yes, definitely, we teachers have to understand our responsibility. And yes, we have to find out the solution for every problem rather than, I mean, if we are not the part of the solution, then we ourselves are the problem. Thank you so much, ma'am. So with this, may I now invite Dr. Reena Unyal, an excellent educationist, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, Associate Professor, Department of Teacher Education, DAV PG College, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, to sum up and read the resume of the conference. So I welcome you, ma'am, to read the resume.
Thank you, Dr. Dikshit. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. A very warm namaskar to all patrons, participants, panelists, keynote speakers, moderators, chairperson, and organizing committee, convener, organizing secretary, and members. As we reach the completion and concluding session of this two-day virtual international conference on contemporary teaching pedagogy in a pluralistic society, I am presenting a very brief resume of the conference. The first day's inaugural session started with prayer and welcome address by convener Dr. Usha Pathak ma'am, and the address and motivational talk by patrons Sri Manvendra Swaroop ji, Dr. Ajay Saxena sir, Professor Rama Makhuri ma'am, Professor R.T. Dikshit, Dr. V.M. Shashikumar sir, Dr. Rashmidhar ma'am presented the theme, and Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit the program schedule. Dr. Kesang Degi moderated the panel presentation session with Dr. K.P. Mohanan as the keynote speaker, who presented in detail about what, why, and how in curriculum design. Sir said, if we wish to implement NEP 2020 recommendations on higher order cognition, we need to build elements of rational temper into the school curriculum. Distinguished and learned panelist, Dr. Stephanie Egger's presentation was about integration of noticing and understanding design to inspire learning. Dr. Haripriya Pathak ma'am advocated promoting gender equality and equity in classroom and role of teacher in the development of gender identity. Professor Luis Miguel explained the 4 pillars of learning: to know, to do, to be, and to live together, as well as 3 levels of 21st century skills: learning, literacy, and life skills. He also introduced the listeners to start working for OECD Learning Compass 2030 to develop knowledge, skill, attitude, and values needed in the future world. 3 parallel technical sessions were conducted in 3 virtual boardrooms with a total of 28 paper presentations under the able chairpersons, Dr. Laila Jacob ma'am, Dr. Geeta Gopinath ma'am, and Dr. S. Chakrabarti ma'am, and co-chairpersons, Dr. Rinki and Dr. Pooja Walia. The second day of the virtual conference started with prayer and welcome address by Dr. Chetna Thapa, the organizing secretary. Dr. Langseng Ziliang moderated the panel presentation session with Professor Sharat Sinha as the keynote speaker, who elaborated on her thoughts about preparing teacher education curriculum catering to the needs of 21st century, like challenges of expansion, equity, excellence, and employability skills. For this, we teachers have to change the way we teach, the way students learn, and perception towards technology, and developing skills of communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Distinguished panelist Dr. Soni Mary Varghese presented her ideas on metacognition to support student self-regulation, explaining metacognitive knowledge, regulation, cycle, types of metacognitive learners. She emphasized that 21st century learning requires metacognition development by support from teachers using infusion model, WebQuest, reciprocal learning, and metacognitive talk, etc. Dr. Gurmeet Singh sir presented his views on preparation of teachers for different types of school system in India and for global sector too, to prepare quality teachers, checking standards of teacher education institutions, proper monitoring, selection procedure of faculty, curriculum of teacher education program, encouraging research, effective internship program, quality books to be written in different languages, and regular in-service education for teacher educators as well. Dr. Geeta Rai's presentation was on adapting multilingual habitus in education, development for the multilingual realities, Teachers can be instrumental in building communicative competence, language tolerance, metalinguistic awareness by doing activities like survey, translingualism, multilingual greetings for enhancing multilingualism. 2 parallel technical sessions were conducted with a total of 18 paper presentations in presence of knowledgeable chairpersons, Dr. Savita Rawat ma'am, Dr. Madhuri Isave ma'am, and co-chairperson, Dr. Sharvela ma'am. The valedictory session, which is going now, is being conducted by Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit and graced by the address of Dr. M.S. Geetha ma'am, who presented her views that in continuous learning process, pluralism is valuing human diversity. It is an opportunity for continuous development. In her special address, Dr. Poonam Mishra ma'am talked about the modern classroom, where the elements of space, technology, and pedagogy are essential to maximize learning. And this learning can be anytime, anywhere, and from anyone. I would like to add only a last line as a key takeaway. जब संस्कृतियां भिन्न हो, समुदाय भिन्न हो, समाज भिन्न हो, भिन्नता भाषा की हो, एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड की हो, इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपेसिटीज, मेंटल एंड फिजिकल कैपेसिटीज की हो, और उसके साथ साथ कॉग्निशन अप्रोच डिफरेंट, स्कूल डिफरेंट हो, और
Kindly unmute yourself, ma'am.
इन सभी भिन्नताओं को समेटते हुए किस प्रकार से शिक्षण के शास्त्र में परिवर्तन लाया जा सकता है. So there is an urgent need and requirement and responsibility of us, we teacher educators, curriculum planners, policy deciders, content and book writers, principals, and especially parents as well as teachers, who have to understand, focus, and work on the pedagogy for the innovative and diverse methods to be used in the classroom for maximizing learning. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for presenting the brief resume and refreshing the sweet memories of the 2 days international conference. Thanks a lot, ma'am. It's my pleasure now to invite convener of the event, Dr. Usha Pathak, the sculptor of human character, a seasoned scholar and navigator of this flagship of knowledge, and my mentor, for her valuable concluding remarks. You are welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Pratiksha. What an immaculate amount of knowledge we are taking away from this 2-day international conference on the theme Contemporary Teaching Pedagogy in a Pluralistic Society. In these 2 days, we collectively learned about the independent learning, Dr. K.P. Mohanan's gripping thoughts on independent learning, inquiry, critical thinking, and critical reading, and most importantly, questioning before accepting data. Perception plays a very important role in education, and we need to educate our students that the only way to move forward and to fathom unknown depths is not just to question why, but why not. Dr. Haripriya Pathak brewed the conversation with yet another enriching concept of gender stereotyping in the society in the context of education and teaching methods. Today, Professor Sarasina, Education Department, NCRT, very well stated the teaching methods have evolved with time. The important parameters that make education more inclusive for both the teacher and the student are creating a futuristic curriculum, multidisciplinary approach, be creative, and being able to share that creativity. As for the upcoming declaration of results, one thing I would like to mention is that the competition among paper presenters in each technical session aimed at encouraging everyone to deliver their best and uplift the overall demeanor of this conference. All papers were presented with utmost dedication and were well rooted to the theme of the conference. Having said that, I would like to congratulate each and every presenter for delivering their best. for organizing such a wonderful session smoothly. I would like to thank the advisory committee comprising Professor Geeta Khanduri, Department of Education, HNB Garhwal Central University, Srinagar, Uttarakhand, Professor Rashmidhar, Dean and Head, Department of Teacher Education, Professor Savita Rawat, Professor Poonam Mishra, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, Dr. Rupali Behel, Assistant Professor Mr. Narendra Singh Rana, Assistant Professor Mr. Sandeep Kumar, and Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit for their valuable suggestions and guidance. I would also like to thank our team comprising Nivedita Bisht, Ujjwal Sharma, Chetna Bisht, and Devansh, who have been a factor of extreme strength and helped us fruitfully channelize and implement the ideas coming from all the directions, which in turn made all our efforts come true. I'm extremely grateful for the presence of such intellectual academicians, not only from our land, but from around the globe as well. This conference is extremely close to my heart for us as educationists have such pedagogical insights as takeaways which make sure that we will see our aspired model of education system in not less than 10 years from now. With this note, I hand over the further proceedings to Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And rightly said by you as well as many academicians that शील विनय आदर्श श्रेष्ठता तार बिना झंकार नहीं है. शिक्षा क्या स्वर साध सकेगी यदि नैतिक आधार नहीं है. इसीलिए निर्माणों के पावन युग में हम चरित्र निर्माण न भूलें, स्वार्थ साधना की आंधी में वसुधा का कल्याण न भूलें. Thank you so much, ma'am. And with this, I would like to go ahead with the next event. Excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better. It's the generosity of the esteemed management of DAVPG College and SEAM to recognize the excellence of learners, keeping in view the norms of the evaluation process. Judges from across the nation have assessed the papers, 48 in numbers, and the paper from the participants who have secured the maximum score based on the criteria set for the judgment has been adjudged as the best paper presenter. So same way for the presentation part, we were having 5 boardrooms in all for both the days, including the main boardroom, and 29 papers in total were presented by the enthusiastic and ambitious scholars from different states. All presentations were wonderful and well presented, creating a difficult situation for the chairpersons to decide upon the best presentation due to neck-to-neck competition. As such, the best presentation from each boardroom has been selected by the chairpersons and co-chairpersons of the respective boardrooms. So I would feel really, really grateful if we could have Professor R.K. Srivastava, former Dean and Head, School of Education, HNB Garhwal Central University, Srinagar, Uttarakhand, head to the floor between a huge round of applause to declare the result. So I request you, sir, to please declare the result.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the convener of this international seminar, Dr. Usha Pathak, and her scholar learned team. I also like to congratulate Department of Teacher Education, DAV College, their colleagues, and the participants. In this educational event, many papers have been presented in the very scholarly manner and also in a very interesting manner, exhibiting the innovative ideas and creative features on various sub-themes. Every scholar presented the paper with the utmost efforts, highlighting on various current issues. However, the panel of experts have found the following papers as best papers. Though I would like to commend all those papers presenters who made their efforts in presenting the paper very nicely, exhibiting their themes, but sometimes it becomes difficult to sort out the paper who is best or who is not best. But in my opinion, the paper who is being declared as the best paper are as under room number 1, technical session first, and day first, 28, 21, that means 20th August, that is yesterday. The paper of Nilambari Gupta and Rachna Joshi, bearing the title Expression, a Vibrant Tapestry of Learning for the Mind, Body and Soul. This paper is found to be best paper. In room number 2, there were 9 papers in total, but the paper of Shaija KG, bearing the title The Perspective of B.Ed Students on the Drastic Surge of Online Teaching Across Kerala, was found as the best. In room number 3, there were 10 papers. The paper of Alexander Adona, Didactic Learning Through Digital Intervention, and also the paper of Aditi Mishra and Farah Hassan, bearing the title Present Scenario to Aware for External and Environmental Impact on Human Infertility. These 2 papers were found to be as the best paper. Today, that is on 21st August, in room number 1st, there were 9 papers, but the paper of Dr. Seema Bhushan, bearing the title Orchestrating Multiple Intelligences, Paving a way to help exceptional students / slow learners. And similarly, in room number 2, there were 9 papers. The paper of Dr. Ashu Ralat, Prerna Semwal and Soni, bearing the title Analyzing Online Learning Situations, Future Prospects of Blended Learning, was found to be as the best papers. However, overall, the best paper award goes to Dr. Shikha Goyal, whose topic is IT's course under National Skill Qualification Framework and SQF, Approach and Obstacles. Thus, these papers were declared as the best papers, in my opinion. And as per the result given to me, I hope that these persons, along with the others, will encourage by this event, and they will try to have a best papers in their future events. With these words, I would like to thanks to all of you. Best for life. Thank you very much.
We are grateful to you, sir, and congratulations and a huge round of applause first for all the participants who
Thank
made
you.
this program a success, and
Thank you.
to all the best presenters. Keep
Thank
your
you.
spirits alive. The journey is in front of you and you will be the winner. Thank you. And with this, let me go ahead. Gratitude is the mother of all virtues. To extend our gratitude to everyone who made this program a great success. Arriving at the last segment of the mega event, I consider it a great pleasure to invite Dr. Rupali Bahal, Associate Professor, Department of Teacher Education, DAVPG College, Dehradun, to propose the vote of thanks. Stage is yours, ma'am.
Namaskar to everyone and happy Pongal.
Thank you.
Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It is just felt. I feel great honor and privileged to get the opportunity to propose vote of thanks on the behalf of the Department of Teacher Education, DAVPG College, Dehradun, and SEEM, Council of Education and Administration Management. At the outset, I want to say that international conference itself is a challenging task. And virtual international conference is also a very challenging task. It requires, at all cost, it requires a great preparation, wise working hands, and support from every corners, and above all, blessings. 2 days international conference, contemporary teaching pedagogy in pluralistic societies was very extremely useful, and we got opportunity to make aware ourselves towards the challenges and development made in the field of contemporary teaching. The success of the conference could not be possible. So with this, at the outset, I will start by thanking the God for the successful completion of the international conference. Though there were some technical hitches, but in the end, it was successful for all. In the series, After the God and Almighty, I want to express my deep sense of obligation to our chief patron of this conference, Shri Manveen Sarup, Honorable Secretary, Board of Management, DAVPG College, Dehradun, for his continuous motivation and blessings. My most humble thanks are paid to our patron, Dr. Ajay Saxena, Principal, DAVPG College, Dehradun, under whose active guidance, mentorship, and dynamic leadership, the conference runs very actively. My humble thanks goes out to our head of the Department, Teacher Education, DAVPG College, Dr. Rashmidhar, who was a constant source of energy and radiates towards us, which keep us active throughout the preparation of this conference. My deep gratitude to our guest of honor, Professor Rama Mekhuri, Head and Dean, Department of Education, HNB Garhwal, Central University, Srinagar, Garhwal. Madam, your graceful presence enlightened us, and you guided us for the accomplishment of this conference. My humble thanks goes to Professor Aarti Dikshit, Principal, for sparing time from the busy schedule and motivating us. My sincere thanks to the National President Council of SEAM, our co-collaborator in organizing the international conference, Dr. V.M. Sasi Kumar. Thank you for sharing this platform. I humbly thank our keynote speakers, Dr. K.P. Mohano, Professor Sharad Sinha, for giving the depth to the content and deliberation by their insightful and thought-provoking sessions. They really alarmed us, awake us, and shifted us from the idealistic to the realistic approach. I accord sincere thanks to our panel presenters, not only from our country, but from different corners of the globe. Madam Stephen Maria Egger, Luis Miguel Cardoso, Dr. Haripriya Pathak, Dr. Soni Mary Varghese, Dr. Gurmeet Singh, and Dr. Geeta Rai. They share their researches and contents and deliberations and made the content more depthful. They provide the idea and give the depth to the theme of the conference. My sincere thanks to the chairperson, Dr. Leila Jacob, Dr. Savita Rawat, Dr. Gopinath, Dr. Rinki, Dr. Madhuri, Dr. Pooja Walia, and Shonali Chakrabarti for skillfully making effort to highlight the inputs of the participants. My thanks to panel moderators And my sincere thanks to all the technical managers, and even cannot be successful without the people who devote their resources and time to ensure that the things should go smoothly and flawlessly. We have been fortunate enough to be supported by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues who know their jobs and results oriented. This team comprises of Dr. Savita Rawat ma'am, Associate Professor, Dr. Poonam Mishra ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Teacher Education, DAV PG College, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, Associate Professor, DAV PG College, Mr. Sandeep Kumar, and above all our head, Dr. Rashmidhar madam. This team constantly supported us in shaping the conference. Beside this, we have Dr. Geeta madam, whose support and presence, gracious presence, was very important to us. It cannot be ignored. Then the flow of the program was well maintained by Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit. My thanks to Nivedita, Chetna Bisht, and Ujjwal Sharma, who keep channelizing the operations in the conference. They never let go. They overcome all the technical hitches. And most important thanks to the convener of the conference, Dr. Usha Pathak, the one who untiringly dedicated with great dedication and devotion, brought this conference to such a success. My thanks to Organizing Secretary, Dr. Chetna Thapa, and many participants, enthusiastic and excited participants, who gave their full input in the making the success of the conference. I thank all the team members, team officials, and also the judges who were the one who keep the motivation of the conference, who maintain the motivation of the conference. And thank you for awarding this award of the award which the students receive is really motivating, which will bring the concepts and ideas, new ideas and creative ideas forward to further researches. At last, my sincere apology to those who directly and indirectly help us out during this conference, but unwillingly I forget to take their names. So thank you all. Lastly, जो कॉन्फ्रेंस का जिस्ट निकला उससे बस यही है कि अगर हम सोच को बदलें तो सितारे बदल जाएंगे, नजर को बदलें तो नजारे बदल जाएंगे, कश्तियां बदलने की जरूरत नहीं, दिशाओं को बदलें तो किनारे अपने आप बदल जाएंगे. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of gratitude and yes, of course, a great message. So now I'd like to invite the Organizing Secretary CEAM, Uttarakhand Chapter, Dr. Chetna Thapa, for the formal declaration of the closure of the event. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Pratiksha Dikshit. I just have a couple of minutes, but I would like to begin by thanking all of you, the keynote speakers, the panelists, the moderators, the chairpersons, the paper presenters, the participants, the organizing and advisory committee of this international conference, and the whole crew. And finally, I want to thank the person who made this really happen, primarily Dr. Usha Pathak, the convener of this event. So thank you all once again. Now we need to close out this conference. I would like to take permission from the convener for the official declaration of the closure of this event. Ma'am, please officially declare closure of this event.
I officially declare the closure of this international conference, and thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now
Thank
I
you.
request all of you to kindly switch on your cameras. I request all of you to kindly switch on your cameras. And I request all of you to please stand to join for the national anthem.
1 minute, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay. So to summarize, then let me just run through what we have agreed here during this 2 days conference, that उच्च आदर्श चमकते हैं सितारों की तरह, मंद सांसों के लिए स्वस्थ सहारों की तरह। तो आइए हम भी चले राह पे आदर्शों की, ताकि जीवन न जिए हम गुनहगारों की तरह। So with these words of appreciation for all of you, and of course we all have enjoyed a lot, but due to paucity of time we have to bring it to a close. So let us promise to each other that yes, we'll live to the ideals and the ideas shared by everyone, and we will also make a promise that पुनर्मिलन की चाह लिए अलविदा तुम्हें हम कहते हैं, ज्ञान के इस मेले में फिर मिलना करबद्ध प्रार्थना करते हैं, करबद्ध प्रार्थना करते हैं। With this, I hand over the mic to Chetna ma'am once again. Sorry for the interruption. And a huge thanks to Dr. Shyam Lal, who was behind the curtain and handling all these technical things so efficiently. A big thank you, Shyam Lal sir, for your continuous support and effort you put in. Thanks a lot.